And welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I am your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. 2023 is already flying by. It's already almost February. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, approaching the NBA trade deadline, and we got the NFC and AFC championship games this weekend, man. So it's gonna be some busy time in sports. College basketball heating up as well.
All I got to say, Brock Purdy, baby. Make me some money, Brock Purdy. Shout out to the 49ers for getting it done against the stingy Dallas Cowboys defense, man, because I was actually quite nervous.
Sure.
I was quite nervous in that game. It was a defensive battle. Offensive side, wasn't too impressed by either team, especially Dak Prescott. So,
Yikes.
man, you got your team's own Twitter account calling you out. That's what I'm saying.
You know it's bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When your own team's Twitter account that's supposed to be bandwagon fans or supporters, man, going back on your QB, man, that's how you know your QB let them down, man. So shout out to Brock Purdy, man. 2 more dubs, man, to get my championship pick to be correct. But I am quite nervous. Nervous this week.
Let me tell you, that is pretty interesting. If you look at most team accounts, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, anytime the team loses, you never, ever see the star as the focal point. And I know Dallas didn't put a picture up. Maybe they did, but they definitely put up a tweet talking about their star having part of the reason why they lost. You never see that. Like, you'll see the 6th guy or like on the NBA bench, or you'll see like a random other guy that's maybe you'll see guys like that on the front of it. So that was very telling. And considering they also paid Dak, so it's not like he's due for a contract. So that kind of tells you, I guess, how people in the office feel about Dak Prescott. But we'll get into that. But like they said, man, NFC, AFC championship is where we're going to start. For the most part, most of the teams that are here are some of the teams that most people predicted. But starting off, I guess we could talk a little bit about the divisional rounds and what they saw. And people, I want to start with you.
I think we got to highlight that Bengals-Bills game, man. Once again, man, I've been saying this, and obviously they don't listen to me because obviously I'm not an NFL guy. I'm not in the system. But, man, the Bills need to learn to run the damn ball, especially when it's snowing. And I know hey, look, shout out to the Bengals defense. I think they were a lot of people might have overlooked them this year, just based on how rough they had it last year there for a bit. But, man, they stepped up, especially that secondary. I mean, Diggs was just raging on the sideline. Josh Allen was overthrowing Stephon. He was overthrowing Gabe Davis. Davis did have one drop, but it was a great play by the Bengals secondary. I mean, and and Joe Burrow came out rolling, man. First touchdown to Jamar Chase. They got Joe Mixon going, which I think we all agreed was going to be a must need for that team, and especially going forward against this Chiefs team too in the AFC Championship game. So, yeah, man. I mean, Josh Allen. I don't want to say it, man, but I'd just say he's a better Trubisky.
No, stop! Yo, we're going too far, man. We're going too far, man. No. I am going to defend Josh Allen today.
How can you defend him?
I'm going to defend Josh Allen because we were watching that game. I don't know. Cincinnati's defense was just better than the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills secondary was getting eaten up, man. I swear to God, every time they were wide open.
At home.
Wide open, like obviously without DeMar Hamlin, like the quarterbacks were awful. Joe, I'm sorry, Hayden Hurst ain't that good, man. Hayden Hurst ain't that good.
I had him in fantasy. He's not awful.
Eating, man. Hayden Hurst was eating on 3rd down, man. Obviously, nobody can stop Jamar Chase. That dude's an absolute stud, man. This dude's 22 years young, man. Like, the dude's an absolute stud. But when Hayden Hurst is eating, you got issues, man. And I don't know about Joe Burrow's offensive line. They were supposed to be injured. They looked amazing with a bunch of backups. I don't know how a bunch of backups came in and Joe Burrow's barely got touched. I do not remember the pass rush get to Joe Burrow's once in that game. Well, I see Josh Allen on the other side running for his life. That Cincinnati line was rushing Josh Allen hard and didn't give him an opportunity to get the ball downfield because their O-line wasn't doing their job. So you got the O-line sucking it up. You got the D-line not getting to Joe Burrows. You got the secondary allowing Hayden Hurst looking like Gronkowski. Man, I ain't blaming Josh Allen.
Oh.
I ain't blaming him.
Dude,
I ain't blaming him,
points. Man. 10 points, man. 10 points at home, playing under the same damn conditions that Joe Burrow was throwing that ball on.
He did.
Same damn
And he's
conditions.
used to it too.
He's used to it, man. And look, I agree. He's a
Look
great
at the
player.
line play.
I'm just
look at the O line and D line play. Cincinnati dominated.
Cincinnati made the Super Bowl last year with one of the worst offensive lines. It's obviously
Yeah,
an
they
important aspect, but Josh Allen is the best quarterback outside of the pocket. He can run the ball. He wasn't doing enough of that. They couldn't get the running game going because he was overthrowing everything. I mean, look, Stephon Diggs just went up to him up on the sideline. And was like, dude, what
he
are you
did
doing,
miss
man?
Diggs. I remember one distinct throw. He just missed him completely.
He overthrew him 3 times. He had an under 60% completion percentage. Check the ball down. Go for the runs. Play your strengths, man. I mean, I think he had a rushing touchdown.
He had a
right?
rushing
I think that's the
touchdown.
only way they scored, but he had 8 carries for 26 yards. 8 carries for 26 yards. That is not a Josh Allen type game. I only compare him to Trubisky.
Stop it!
Similar,
You're not comparing to Trubisky ever again, man. It's just stop it. Trubisky is lucky he's in the NFL.
Yeah,
Josh Allen
is a better version.
The NFL is lucky to have Josh Allen. That's the difference between Josh Allen and Mitchell Trubisky. Man, stop it, man. Stop it.
Dude, Zoo. They can't they have the same team. They've gotten better every single year.
And I gotta mention this. Von Miller was out this entire season, and that is a game changer. Von Miller in the regular season was getting to the quarterback like in his prime, man. He looked like Von Miller of Denver winning a Super Bowl. They lose that guy on the defensive end.
We're talking about offense, though. 10 points.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You got Cincinnati. You got Cincinnati dropping 27 points on you, man.
Yeah.
They were moving the ball up like it was nothing, like it was a scrimmage, man.
Match it.
That's what I was about to say, people. I hear you, Zoo, but it's like
match it.
The perfect example of this was last year when they played Kansas City. They matched Kansas City when they were playing them. And both defenses were bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. Cincinnati's defense, they were actually good. They were really good. Like, because obviously that Cincinnati struggled, that offense struggled against Baltimore's defense, which is unbelievable defense. Unbelievable. Because obviously offensive side, they had lots of issues. So that defense really showed up, man. But then Cincinnati really bounced back offensive. But man, Buffalo's defense was non-existent, man.
Yeah, it was.
Non-existent.
We all agree on that, but I do think
I'm with Bush on the point. You can put blame on Josh Allen, but you cannot give the brother 50% of the blame when your defense, O-line, secondary are all struggling and you're without Von Miller. Those are factors you got to consider, man.
I mean,
you got to consider those factors.
They've been without Von for a little while.
But
he's the quarterback.
He's probably the second most. He's probably the second most important player on the team.
Von Miller.
Fair.
Stephon.
Yeah, I don't even
behind Stephon. He's better. Dude, no. I'm not going to. Von is good, but he's not. Stephon is more important because without Stephon,
5 years ago,
the Bills are in the playoffs. Yes. But what I'm saying is, I don't agree with the. I do understand what people are saying with Trubisky, the parallels, but I'm not going to say he's anywhere close. I don't agree with it entirely. I don't agree with people's point of him saying he's in that same breath or whatever. Like, even, let's just say a comparison. He's not. If we're doing neighborhoods, they're in the same city, but they're not in the same block. Like, I'm not going that far. Like, they're in the same city, but they're on the same block. But to people's point, I do think that Josh could have played. Because part of the reason them being in Buffalo, he's used to those temperatures, he's used to the snow. So part of that is that factors in when you're thinking about how he played. And he had a couple of plays where I want to say maybe in the fourth when it was kind of in that teetering range where it kind of like they weren't going to be able to come back. But if he maybe got something on that drive, they could have maybe went down and scored and made it interesting. He had that play where it got called as a forward pass, but like he lost the ball and he kind of got crumpled on. That's when I kind of was looking at it like, it's just not going to be the day for Josh. I mean, that's just the day and age of quarterbacks, man. You know, if Josh Allen would have came back and won that game, he would have got, you know, you wouldn't have been talking about what a defense stopped him from scoring another point from 27. Like, we would have been saying Josh Allen came back and was the miraculous quarterback that's gotten him to the championship game. I just think that's territory with the quarterback. Like, we do understand Von Miller was hurt. We do understand that, you know, Diggs did get targeted a lot and he didn't catch it. So we can't absolve Diggs a lot. But I mean, he did miss Diggs on some throws, but you know, they got a lot of soul searching to do in Buffalo because I do think that they need to invest more in the running game, maybe get a back that could maybe hold some leads or, you know, shift with momentum in terms of, you know, making longer play drives. Something different needs to change in Buffalo. And some might even say that that's a good point, but some might even say that it's just as simple as he ain't got Brian Daboll. That might be a real big reason
QB
why.
whisperer.
And you can look at New York and be like, Daniel Jones. None of us was looking at Daniel Jones and thinking he was even a average quarterback. Dayball comes in, plays to his strengths, and he got him in the playoffs. So it might be a Dayball effect. I don't know. I like Sean McDermott, but Dayball looks like a guy who had a really big effect.
Ryan Dayball is so important for Josh Allen's development. But let's not get carried about Daniel Jones, man. He's a below average quarterback.
I'm with you on that.
Like, let's not get carried away.
Eagles
Let's
at
not
the
get carried
Yes,
away.
all Dayball for the most part. Yeah. I think Dayball.
Eagles murdered
Yeah,
him.
we saw him again. We saw that game against the Eagles, man. Absolutely
Yeah, he got blitzed.
embarrassing.
Brutal.
Embarrassing.
off
Unwatchable. Unwatchable that game.
Turned it
Unwatchable.
off.
And I would almost say Daniel Jones has more excuses than Josh Allen because who the hell is Daniel Jones throwing to?
Yeah.
And he's got Saquon, but I mean, Saquon, he did as much as he could against the Eagles defense. I mean, we saw what the Giants were, man, and we all kind of predicted this too because before even the playoffs started, we all talked about how bad Minnesota's defense is. They make everybody look great.
Yep.
So I think it was fool's gold, and they kind of showed. I do like what the Eagles did in terms of just running the football. They almost ran for 300 yards, which I'm happy to see because that kind of made me feel good about what they could do potentially further on in the playoffs. But we all knew what was going to happen in that. And to your point, Zoo, Daniel Jones is a guy who has gotten great coaching over this past year, and he's limited his mistakes, which I guess is to his credit. But he's also played within himself, and for that he's going to get paid. Now I don't know how much he's going to get paid, but he's going to get paid for it.
He's
So
gonna get a contract.
again, shout out to Dayball, man. Like it seems like he's got this effect with quarterbacks, and he knows how to use them. So, if I was the Giants, I'd maybe look for a
You
quarterback.
cannot pay
but they're probably
Daniel
stuck with
Jones.
him.
You cannot pay
Derek-
Daniel Jones $100 million.
No. Derek Carr might need a
It's
little
going
help.
to be
though.
interesting what he gets paid. It's going to be interesting because I would not pay him that either.
Yeah,
But
you just can't,
No.
man. You just can't.
but if you think so, like I guess he's unrestricted, or they got one more year.
I think so.
How does his contract?
I don't know
So
if
it's
he has
like-
the option or not, but
That is going to be so interesting because what quarterbacks, I think they're the one position where I don't think you could just pay. Like if you get your team to the playoffs, you can't just pay them under market value. You always up the guy. I'm not saying he's going to get a Deshaun Watson contract, but it's like, what is he like? He's going to get something to where it's probably not guaranteed, but he's going to get a lot of M's on that check.
Yeah.
With that, we can talk about that another time. But I kind of, now that we spend a little bit of time on the divisional round, we kind of know what happened in other games. Just spinning it forward to the championship round because we do have NBA trades later. I'll start with 49ers and Eagles. I mean, you guys know I've been on the Eagles bandwagon the entire time, and that's just because of Hurts. I think he's developed. Shoulder looked good. He got hit a couple of times.
Oh, he looked healthy.
Running around.
He
He
looked
That's
looked
one
good.
thing.
He looked good.
When he started
Caught his own
running,
shot.
like he had a rushing touchdown. When he started running, I'm like, okay, this dude's back.
Yeah,
This
he's
dude's
back.
Yeah, he was not. He was fearless. So that was a great sign. Miles Sanders looked great. They're, if you really look up and down these rosters with the 49ers and Eagles, they're pretty much dead even with just skill talent on offense, explosiveness on defense. The only difference is the quarterback. So what I'm looking for in this game is, and I think you just lost my connection. What I'm looking for in this game is, I think with Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts, I kind of want to see what happens in a fourth quarter type game. Like a game where you're on the road with Brock Purdy. You're pretty much, I don't know, maybe let's just say the Eagles are up 10 and it's the start of the fourth quarter. I want to see how Brock performs. Because has Brock even been, somebody made this one up, has he even been off the West Coast? Like, I don't think he's even been out of the West Coast time zone. I think he's been on the road, but he hasn't been anywhere where he's playing like East and then going to somewhere like Philadelphia. I don't think he's done that. So
it's going to be the hardest place he's had to.
For sure. It's going to be, and I think did we just lose P-Bush?
Oh yeah, I think we did.
But yeah, it's definitely going to be one of the harder places for him to play. So I am interested to see how he responds to that because, being honest, man, in that Dallas game, he did what he needed to do.
Yeah, he was a game manager, man. Straight up
Yeah,
game manager.
he did
It
make a
was
lot of great
It was
plays.
one of those games where you rely on the run. Elijah Mitchell, Christian McCaffrey carrying the load. They were up. Defense was making a lot of plays. George Kittle is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yep.
When he catches his yak is crazy. George Kittle's yak is crazy. So
Play.
Brock Purdy,
That's for
he's just He's just in that Jimmy G like game manager type role, man, and that's all they want him to do. That's all they want him to do, and he got it done. And they're gonna probably go with the same game plan because you cannot have Brock Purdy throwing the ball downfield every time, man. He ain't no Josh Allen. He ain't that talented. Like he's a nice like game manager type quarterback, man. He could be an average starting quarterback, but he ain't no tier 1. He ain't no tier 1, and they're not gonna ask him to be tier 1. So you just gotta play with himself and hope the defense slows down that Eagles offense because that's an unbelievable offense over there, man. Unbelievable offense. So my lord. Good luck. Good luck, Brock Purdy, man. That's all I gotta say. Good luck, Brock Purdy.
No, I hit my point. It's all good. I just lost connection for a second, but hey, first time in a while, boys. First time in a while. But yeah, man. I mean, for this one, 49ers. Look, man, they pulled out a scrappy win against the Cowboys defense. That even though I know you posted the clip earlier, but Micah Parsons, man, he was getting shut down by Trent Williams on the left tackle side, man. Absolutely ridiculous. I think we might be losing Sean here for a bit. But so, I'm talking about Micah Parsons did not get to the quarterback as much as I thought he would in that Niners game. And I think that McCaffrey, I don't know if he's injured or if they were just kind of pulling carries from him and they were going with Elijah Mitchell a little bit.
There's a lot more Mitchell than I actually thought because I thought maybe they used him as a workhorse in the playoffs.
He did look good. Yeah, he looked really good. But, I'm looking at the other side. Kenneth Gainwell had a hell of a game. And, Sean, we talked about this, but the Giants shut down Dalvin Cook. And I know that their offensive line isn't the greatest thing in the world up there in Minnesota. But the Eagles just destroyed that Giants defensive line on the Russian front, putting up like 275. I mean, they had, Hurts was running. They had Gainwell. Boston Scott scored a touchdown per usual. It's always one of the randos on that team, taken away from Miles Sanders. But yeah, man, I just think they're going to have to stick with it. I think, obviously the 49ers have a pretty formidable defense as well. Fred Warner always flying in through the middle. I really like that rookie. Who's that rookie safety? The one mentored by Polamalu. He looks like Polamalu. Is it Tuafella or something like that? I'm butchering it, but they have a really good rookie safety who's just been flying in the running game on the defensive side of the ball. So I am interested to see what the Eagles are able to do on that front. I just think if we're seeing the Jalen Hurts that we saw last week and he's fully healthy, man, I'm sorry, Zoo, man. I think I got to go with the Eagles here.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
As much as I like watching Brock,
that pick, man. I can't even hate that pick
but I got to go Eagles.
This is my NFC East champions, man. At the beginning of the year, I was super high on the Eagles. 1 seed straight domination. Like they took care of business. They took care of the cute teams, man. Move on, get the bye. Take care of pretty much last week is pretty much another bye because they just get their warm ups in, man. Man, dropping 38 points on the Giants like no.
They have 2 real games.
Yeah,
this one division rival at that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But man,
whooped them 3 times.
Yeah, the Eagles look prime, right? They're rested their prime right now because like that was a physical battle against Dallas Cowboys. That took every single it was a slugfest. Like, if Dak Prescott threw one less interception, the game could have been different, man. That one of those picks was inexcusable.
The CD one, the one that got
inexcusable. Like, I was looking at that pass. I'm looking at the replay. It wasn't even close. It looked like he was throwing to the other team. Like sometimes I can't make a play, but that he just like mentally just didn't read the play. Like I was just like, what the heck happened?
There's a Trubisky comparison. We'll call that the Trubisky comparison of the podcast. Those picks, man, that's
more apt. Yeah, that is more apt. I will say Dak is more apt than Josh Allen, but yeah. I do another point I want to make about the Eagles. I'm interested to see how, I guess, or with the Eagles 49ers game, I'm interested to see how the defense goes against the Eagles receivers. Because for some reason, I kind of think Devontae, he could have a really big game. Because I know the defense, for the most part, for the 49ers is stout everywhere. But I think they're going to focus a lot of attention on A.J. Brown because they're not going to want to let him go off. Because I think he's just one of those guys, if he starts rolling, it's just he could go for 200 yards if he wanted to. So that's just one extra subplot I'm going to look at. And like I said before, the difference in the quarterbacks and see how they both perform. But switching to the other side, Bengals and Bills. Or not Bengals and Bills, Bengals and Chiefs.
Rematch, baby.
Watching it,
rematch.
We didn't mention it earlier, but Mahomes pretty much getting a high ankle for the most part. And gutting through that was pretty heroic. And you just wonder I mean, they got everything with medicine. They got everything. They're probably, like I say, probably going to shoot it up, and he's going to go out there and play for his team in the championship game. But I just kind of wonder how when you think of Mahomes, you don't think of him like as a Lamar Jackson or even a Jalen Hurts scrambling. But a lot of his best plays is when he's moving around in the pocket and making crazy throws.
Absolutely.
And there's not going to be a lot of that if he's truly got a high ankle sprain. So speaking about the Bengals defense, if you know that, it pretty much is. I mean, I'm not a defensive coach, but you just know they're going to come in and be sending corner blitzes. They're going to be sending linebackers. Like, you just wonder how they're going to be able to manage that, because KC's line they're okay, but they're not like a Philadelphia or a San Francisco offensive line. So the only thing I'm looking at in this game is, or like the theory I'm thinking about is Cincinnati really gonna just own Patrick Mahomes? I just don't want to believe it.
I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. Don't believe it. It's gonna happen again, man. The minute Mahomes got injured, I'm like, it's over, man. It's over against the Bengals. I saw the injury. I was surprised he came back in game. I was surprised because when he was limping off, I'm like, yo, he can't move. He can't move. And when you're in the red zone, you need your quarterback to be mobile as a red zone threat, because Mahomes, he got sneaky rushing ability for red zone touchdowns. Like, this dude has more rushing touchdowns in the playoffs than Josh Allen. Like, Mahomes is really
further.
Mahomes is really, really good in the red zone. So I'm like, yo, this dude got no rushing threat, man. Obviously, Pacheco. Shouts to Pacheco for a late round pick for showing up, because he was straight up balling.
He did.
Like Mahomes, like, after his injury, like before his injury, he was playing perfect football. I didn't see the brother miss one throw. He was on target, mobile, jump throws, and everything, man. He was playing perfect football. The minute he got injured, I'm like, okay, he just doesn't look the same. And you're playing against the Cincinnati Bengals team that has owned you last year and this year. So even with the healthy Mahomes, I thought it was a pick-em game. Now you got an injured Mahomes against Cincinnati over there, who looked real, real good against the Buffalo Bills. And let's see the line play again, because I still don't know how Joe Burrows was so protected that game. Like, my God, shout out to the offensive lineman for protecting that guy.
Yeah.
So Cincinnati Bengals, man, this is their time to shine again. This is their chance for redemption, man. After losing last year in the Super Bowl, this is their chance for redemption. You're playing against a guy that, man, Chad Henne might make an appearance if Mahomes tweaks that ankle again.
Hey, he had a hell of a good drive.
He had a hell of a good drive.
He really
he
did.
looked at a 97, 98-yard drive. That was a little dinky-dunky, but I was like, God dang, like, they were moving up the field pretty easily.
37 years old, man.
Yeah, I was just like, that was impressive. But that ain't happened against the Cincinnati Bengals team, man.
Not
it ain't happening. Like, my Lord, I have them as the best team in the AFC right now, man. And they're going to get it done, man.
Yeah.
Which is impressive, because Joe Burrow's right now in the playoffs, flawless.
Yep.
Absolutely flawless. Like, his playoff record.
No matter the weather.
Yeah, I don't think he's had like a bad game in the playoffs.
No.
So shout to Joe Cool, man.
The only thing Casey's got going for him is they are at home. Right. That is a plus. Arrowhead's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with the Bengals too, man. I just can't look. Kelsey had one of the greatest first halves I've ever seen. 10 catches. Are you serious? I mean, I played him in DraftKings. It's just PPR. I mean, the guy didn't even have 100 yards. Still put up 35 points in fantasy, man. Are you serious? And that's all they're going to be able to do. They're going to have to rely on playing those 6 to 9 yard, 10-yard routes that Kelsey's going to be running, and just hope that they can continue to move the ball down the field. We saw Chad Henne do it. Jaguars defense, we've talked about this. Their defense is actually pretty good. They really stepped it up towards the second half of the year. But the Bengals defense is just locked and loaded ever since that fumble recovery for the touchdown against the Ravens, man. They're just bought in defensively. And look, Jamar Chase has been balling too. It looks like he's finally back to form after his injury this year. And you still have to deal with T. Higgins, man, who's clear number one wide receiver on any other NFL team, except maybe if you got Devontae Smith or Stephon Diggs or Justin Jefferson on your team, man. Cooper Kupp. He is a true number one wide receiver as a number two. And then you got Hayden Hurst, who's out there looking like Travis Kelce. Yeah, and Tyler Boyd's always a threat, too. And now we see Joe Mixon and even Samaje Perine, man.
Yeah, Samaje is a great backup.
And he's a great pass blocker, too. You had to also shout him out, too, for protecting Joe Burrow, man, because he put his body on the line a couple times there, man. So yeah, I just think it's impossible to stop. They're kind of like the Niners in that sense, man, that you try and stop one guy, they got two others in their arsenal that they can get the ball to. So I'm going with the Bengals here, man.
Yeah, and I gotta add on this, man. Joe Cool, man, he doesn't really make mistakes, man.
No,
I like his IQ up here. I think that's what makes him special.
chess player,
Like,
man.
yeah, I'm telling you, man, this dude's IQ, man. You got like guys that are super athletic, but they're a little dumb, man. I call it the Russell Westbrook syndrome. Man. Joe Burrows, man, it's all IQ up here, man. It's all IQ. I'm just like, yo. And I gotta add in this. Kansas City, man. That Jaguars could have won that game.
They could very easily.
Like that game, the Agnew with the fumble, man. That was huge.
And if they would have stopped Henny, if they would have held Henny to a field goal too, I think they would have had a chance.
Like the Jaguars had their chances. They made some crucial turnovers that cost them the game, but Kansas City wasn't really dominating a Jags team that I thought. Because like KC is just the better team, by a decent amount against that cute story over there. But I didn't see domination. I saw, okay, we squeezed one out. So that game was like, that's a little okay. And now you got the QB injured. I can't believe it, man. Joe Cool, man, going back to the Super Bowl, man. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Man.
You know what I learned in this playoffs though? I was a victim of this because last part I was like, Casey's gonna come out and dominate and show why they're gonna make it to the Super Bowl. You don't do that in the NFL. You don't just come out and beat a team especially in the playoffs. You're not beating a team by 3. It's not happening. I don't care if you're on the 5th string quarterback. Miami proved that. Jacksonville proved that in the last round. You're not. I mean, I know the spreads are double-digit spreads, and people think when they're double-digit spreads, that means it's going to be a blowout. But none of these teams can. You're not. The teams in the playoffs are teams with great players. So you're not just going to come out and dominate and beat a team by 3 or something touchdowns. So that was a mistake of mine with Kansas City, but I don't know. Mahomes being hurt really does make this matchup not as enticing because it's just like, gosh, you really want to see both players healthy. I'm going to be interested to see how he comes out in obviously the first quarter, and I almost want to see them get the ball first, so like he's actually still warm and see how he bounces around, how he's moving around. But I'm not betting the game, so I just go with Kansas City because selfishly I want to see Kansas City and Philadelphia. Because I feel like that could be a chance for not saying Cincinnati can't score with any of the other teams, but the matchup I would love to see is Mahomes versus Jalen. I just think that would be cool. But yes, it's going to be an uphill battle because also you got to think that I know Kansas City's got what's the running back name?
Pacheco.
Yeah, they got him and Kelsey, but they don't really have a lot of other options outside of them. And if the Bengals defense is what it is, they're probably going to have a game plan to shut down and slow down Kelsey. So that's who else are you throwing it to? And then you're hobbled. So I don't know. Yeah. But I'm rooting for Kansas City because I don't want to believe Burrow's just going to dominate Patrick. I just can't see it. Why can't Mahomes beat
I couldn't see it when he was healthy. He's not healthy, so he's got a handicap right now.
And it's a high ankle, bro.
And when you see him move, he can't go off that leg. When he made that one touchdown pass to MVS, he jumped off the wrong foot.
Yeah.
Because he can't fully rely on his ankle right now. It looked awkward, but he obviously, it was like a one-footed touchdown. It was a great touchdown. But he can't play his full-fledged form, MVP caliber form. And that's what's going to take to beat the Cincinnati Bengals team. So I'm like, if he pulls this off, though, what a legend. If he pulls this off on a bum ankle, that's some Isaiah Thomas stuff, man. That is some Isaiah, man, against Magic Johnson. That's what it would be, man, because he pulls it off, man. Because that's what's going to take. It's going to take a Herculean effort on an injury, man. So good luck to Mahomes. Good luck.
Yeah. We'll be tuned in. I think the NFC starts at 3 and then the AFC is around 6:30. So it's going to be plenty of time on Sunday for us to watch those games. But if you guys haven't been totally locked into football, which I don't understand why you wouldn't, but there are some people who watch the podcast and they love the NBA. Trade deadline's right around the corner. We're getting to the point where all-star teams are going to start getting formed, and you're going to start getting not a final form, but a understanding of what your team is going to be post-deadline. So I wanted to ask the guys, what are some of their trade ideas, trade scenarios for certain teams? And we didn't really put a limit in terms of it being a playoff team or a non-playoff team, but we're just going to throw some teams at you guys and show you some trade scenarios for different players throughout the league. And Zoo, I'm going to start with you.
First of all, man, right before this, man, Day before, man. You see the Los Angeles Lakers already making moves, man. Very
Sure
interesting
did.
trade, man.
Hachimura.
They traded a bag of Skittles for Rui Hachimura, man.
Yeah,
That's
chips
what-
and Skittles.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the deal was, man. The Wizards, man, couldn't get a deal done. They don't want to pay their top 10 draft pick, man. He's been okay, nothing too good, nothing too bad. Like pretty average. They don't want to pay him. So they're like, bye-bye. But all they could get was Kendrick Nunn. They couldn't even get a first round back, like a late first round. Like you got Kendrick Nunn and 3 for second round. We're not talking about first round. We're talking about a second round pick.
Yeah,
man.
second is
And
crazy.
you're talking about a franchise that is god awful at drafting.
Yeah.
So like this ain't
They
Sam
are
Presti.
really bad.
It ain't Sam Presti using those picks, man. It's a little more valuable when your GM is competent. When you got the Wizards over there selecting Denny Advia at a high pick, man. They're really struggling in the drafting department.
Johnny Davis this year. I don't even think he's played for them.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. The Wizards are just not good at drafting, so those picks are worthless on them. Like Kendrick Nunn's been injured all year, hasn't done much, and they give out Hachimura. And you see the Lakers already making moves, man. But for me, man, this is the biggest guy I'm looking at right now. Bogdanovich. We
Bogey.
got- yeah, Bogey,
Oh,
man.
Bogdan.
This dude's rotten in Detroit right now. Just rotten. Dude's putting up 20 points a game. This dude's a two-way player, could shoot threes, play defense, even a secondary like ball handler when he was on the Utah Jazz, man. Like this is a dude that he's a playoff player. And what Detroit's doing right now is trying to lose games to get into the Wemby sweepstakes.
Mm-hmm.
And what's Bogey gonna do? Help you win some game? No. We ain't about winning right now. We ain't about winning, especially this year. Maybe next year. We're just try to win. But you have Bogdanovich having a career year, shooting 49% from the field. This dude can help out a lot of playoff teams, man. Like if I'm the LA Lakers, man, trade one of your unprotected first picks for him, man. See if that could get it done. Unprotected. I know, like you trading picks, you got to go full
Totally
naked,
protected.
man. Unprotected and no
He said full
protection,
naked.
man. No protection, man. No protection. No rubber, man. Unprotected, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. But that's what it's going to take to get Bogdanovich from Detroit.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be salivating at that pick. Because when LeBron retires, that pick's to be worth a lot in the future.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about the West right now, like the Lakers might be 22-25. But every team down there, from 7
Yeah.
to 12 is within 1.5 games. It is absolutely. I've never seen it so condensed.
Me
and you
either.
go from the 4th seed. It's only a 3-game difference to out of the play-in tournament. 3 games. So if you go on like a 5-game winning streak, you can go from 11 to 5. Legit, like one win streak could burst everything. Like you have the Sacramento Kings.
I was just gonna say,
You got the
shout 'em
Sac-
out, man.
you got
Shout
it.
'em
You
out.
got the
You gotta shout
Sacramento
'em out,
Kings as 3rd in the West right now.
You gotta
3rd in the West. Like if I'm them right now, I'm going all in right now because this thing got chemistry. Like I would say, try to see what's going to cost to get Bogdanovich, man. They can use another wing player.
Exactly.
You got De'Aaron Fox. You got Sabonis being like the point forward type role, and that I would say that Jokic type role, the big guy that starts the offense. He's having an absolutely great year this year. And you just need a complimentary wing because Harrison Barnes, man. Like I always love hating on Harrison Barnes because he's the definition of an average player, man. You got Bogdanovich in there, another shooter
He's a
in
nice
there, man.
role player.
Yeah. So Malik Monk is a shooter. Kevin Herter, a shooter.
Yep.
You added Bogdanovich in Detroit, man, as another shooter and a veteran guy to help him out because they don't really have like a two-way type wing, more like one-way players. That's a landing spot for the Sacramento Kings. So congratulations to them winning 59% of their games right now.
There you go.
59. The
I saw that
Sacramento
today.
Kings, man.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were that hot as of late.
It's a weird. I'm telling you, this year, I do not see any dominant teams. So
No.
they're not. The thing is, there's not going to be that many sellers. Like outside of like Detroit, San Antonio, Houston Rockets,
Utah
and the
should be a seller. I
Charlotte
don't know why
Hornets.
they're not a seller.
Toronto.
Toronto's
Toronto's a massive
we don't know.
seller.
We don't know.
They're a
They
massive
could be a
seller.
seller. But
Utah
outside
and
of those
Toronto
four,
should definitely be selling.
everybody else feel like I can make play in tournament. Maybe we could win 2 matchups and make it the playoffs. So that's the thing. Things are going to be highly priced, man. Inflation has hit the NBA. All-time inflation for these assets.
Facts.
Because there's not going to be that many sellers. Everybody's going to get that. Oh, we're 22, 24, man. We can make a push for the 6th seed because everything's so condensed. But I'm saying big NBA GMs that
Bogey.
I don't know how much Bogey's going to cost because I feel like Detroit is going to ask for a ridiculously high price. But let's see the negotiations, man, because that's where you make your money, GMs. Good luck. Good luck to try to get Bogdanovich on your team, because Detroit, definition of a selling team, man.
I mean, I have a West Coast team that I think needs to make a move, but for the Kings, real quick, man, I think OG Anunoby from the Raptors would also be a nice little addition.
OG.
And Masai Ujiri, man, you want to talk about a great GM up there with the Pressies of the world, man. He knows what he's doing, and I think he's in a crucial decision point. Are we going to let Fred go? Are we going to let OG Anunoby go? Right? Pascal Siakam, if someone's really trying to make a big splash. I think the only untouchable, and I think we'll all agree here, Mr. Barnes, untouchable on that team, should be a Bull. But, what are you going to do? But I'm going with the Clippers, man. I think this team has been absolutely mediocre. Zoo, wasn't this your NBA Finals pick this year?
I still don't regret it, man. When Kawhi Leonard plays,
they are really good.
They're really good. And when Kawhi Leonard, he is balling right now.
He is.
He's putting up 28, 30 points, man.
He should be. He ain't played a lot of games this year.
They finally have him at the level that they want him to be at, and they can't waste that. And they're just above 500. When him and PG are on the floor, I think they're like 11-7, which is okay. I think you'd expect a little bit better than that. But who's been the biggest scrub on that team, Zoo, that you were so high on? Mr. John Wall, man. Dude, just absolutely inefficient for that
his
team.
Shooting's been awful.
Bringing down the team PER by like 6.6 by himself. Their plus minus, I should say, not their PER. But, man, I think, if they're trying to make a splash, they have a ton of, like, mid-level salaried guys, like the Luke Kennards, right? Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Norman Powell. Go for Fred VanVleet, man. They need a point guard. I think they should go for Fred VanVleet. Yeah, why not? Reggie Jackson is not – Reggie Jackson is regressed.
He's a six-man.
He's a six-man
type dude.
Fred VanVleet can give you 8 assists.
He's having a career worst year this year.
It's fine. You get him cheaper. That's fine. He's expiring contract.
New scenery.
He's not going to ask for the extension. He's out in LA, no longer in freezing-ass Toronto in January. Man, he might have a revitalization. And I'm just saying, look, there's not, like you said, Zoo, there's not way too many teams that are willing to sell. And I don't think they're going to have enough to go for like a Trae Young, for if you want to believe all those rumors, right, that he wants out of Atlanta. Fred VanVleet's a guy that, he could end up re-signing there if they want him to, if they let Reggie Jackson walk at the end of the year. Right.
Wait,
so I don't know. I think the Clippers just
I gotta stop you, man. VanVleet. I know you guys hating on John Wall. He's doing a little worse than I expected. The dude's shooting 40% from the field on low efficiency, only 11 points a game. I thought that was going to be a little more. But the brother's shooting a higher field goal percentage than Fred VanVleet, who's shooting a career worst 38% from the field.
35 from 3.
38 from the field.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
He's the number one scorer.
His averages.
38?
He's being asked to be their primary scorer, and
he's a career 40% shooter from the field, man. He's not an efficient player.
Yeah, but he would be. But that goes
to
a third option. Point. He'd be even more efficient if he's the third option on the Clippers. He'd be way more efficient, way more. He might even be he'd be the third option on the Clippers if all those people.
If PG's healthy.
Yeah, he would be. He'd probably be way more. He'd be way more efficient if he was playing with the Clippers. I agree with people. I think that's a trade that at least the Clippers should explore, because after this year,
see how much they're asking.
If the Clippers don't get to the finals, at least, then you're going to start having conversations about breaking up PG and Kawhi. You're going to start having those conversations because they've been there. They've been the preseason darling every year. Look how deep they are. Well, they're not getting it done. And like you say, in this business and in every sports business, is about W's and L's. And are you getting to the certain plateaus of the franchise, of what you want the franchise to be? So I do kind of agree with that. And you could also look across the street with the Lakers. Like, maybe if you're talking about those picks, Zoo, like how they would with Bogey, if you're looking at Toronto, like, look, if the Lakers say, I'll give you whatever player to, like a filler, I don't know, another player, Lonnie Walker, whoever, and those 2 unprotected first-round picks, and you give me VanVleet and Gary Trent, I'd do that if I was the Lakers.
Or OG.
Those are 2 premium starters. Or OG might require a little bit more.
OG's going to cost a lot.
Player.
Yeah,
OG's going to cost a lot.
That's why I said Trent.
He's not happy.
Trent.
He's not happy.
That's why I said Trent, because I think Trent is another 3-and-D guy. He's like a lesser version of OG, and probably maybe a better shooter. But a team I was looking at was everyone's favorite, Luka Doncic and the Mavericks. I do like the Christian Wood acquisition. He's playing good, but he's not the all-star that they thought he was going to be. And it took him a little bit of time to get ready, or like I guess acquainted with playing with Luka. But Luka, we all know he's a high usage player. We know he's a player that he's gonna have the ball. He's gonna do a lot of the scoring, a lot of the playmaking. So I'm starting to get shades of like Cleveland LeBron in his first stint, where he has some guys on the roster, and because Luka's so great, I think the guys around him are elevated to a certain point, more so if they were on like I don't know, if they were in Minnesota or something. Like, I don't think they would be as good. So I'm kind of looking, and you brought it up, Peebush, with OG. I would do whatever I could if I'm the Mavericks to get him. Because he seems like a guy who I love. Tim Hardaway Jr. He has those games where he go 8 from 10 from 3, and he's just flame throwing, and you just don't know what happened. He's got like 38 points. I understand it. But OG to me would bring something to that team overall with his defensive intensity. He's a pretty decent. I think he's like 35, 36, 34 around that percentage of 3-point percentage. And he definitely would come in and probably either fight for being the second best player or the third best player, depending on how Christian Wood plays that night. So in terms of packages, I don't know what their draft capital is, but I would put the draft capital that Toronto would want. And then, I saw online, what's the guy, Jaden Hardy, which I'm really high on. I'm really high on that guy. But, I mean, if you got to part with him, you got to part with him because you still got Luka and you're trying to get him. And Luka hadn't been in the league that long, but you want to take advantage of what Luka's doing right now and just go for it. So, if you got to part with one of those young guys, even Josh Green, a guy like that, maybe part with him. But if you could get someone like OG to play with Luka, I think that could be a super game changer because not only would he bring a guy that could be a 3-and-D, and I think he can get a little bit off the dribble. He's not doing turnarounds in the mid-range, but I think he can do a little bit off the dribble. All of a sudden, in that Western Conference, you can see OG matching up with maybe potentially a Devin Booker or tiring out somebody like Ja, or matching up with somebody on the Pelicans, maybe not Zion, but just he's a guy that you could move him around, and he could be a versatile defender for the Mavericks because. A lot of people talked about the Jalen Brunson move, and I understand that they probably just don't want to pay him. But Luka needs somebody else who can at least alleviate some of what he does on the court from a night-to-night basis. And I think he would be a good pick. And one other guy I was looking at, I don't know what team he could go to. I don't know who he could be used at. But talking about earlier with Utah, they need to be sellers for the most part. I feel like. I mean, they could try to get the playoffs. Who knows? Maybe they could in the Western Conference this year. But Malik Beasley, for me, I love Malik Beasley. He seems like the perfect guy. It's a 6-man coming off the bench that could get you buckets. I think if he went to the right contender, he could be a difference maker. He could be a difference maker, bro. I really do. I like him a lot. He's like Tyler Hero, but like a notch below. Literally, he's like the same type of guy. And actually, just now saying that, he could be a good fit with the Heat because outside of Butler and Hero, who's getting your offense there?
Gabe Vincent.
Like, we love Bam, but he ain't generating his own offense. Like,
don't forget Kyle Lowry.
And I don't want all the freaking theories and trade scenarios centered around Kyle Lowry. I don't know. People are just doing that for like clicks because I don't understand where he fits at, and it makes sense. I don't see any team outside of the team he's on now.
Watch the Clippers. That be the guy that they end up trading for.
If they did that, then the Clippers, Zeus, sell your Clipper stock because it's over. If they do that, it's over. And I almost want that to happen because then Zoo would be forced to have to root for Kyle Lowry.
No, never.
Not with his dying breath would he say, "Oh, that's."
Yeah, but I can't really either to you guys' point with the sellers. I don't know any other teams that are going to be able to make a trade that would shift the needle in terms of their I guess playoff like probabilities. I don't see.
I got to put it up on another team. I really like the OG pick because I think this guy's a two-way player that he's more of a complementary role because Pascal Siakam is the dude along with Van Fleet. He's more of a third option. I feel like his potential is not going to be reached on that offense. So this is another team that should go after him, go all in. Memphis Grizzlies.
No,
Memphis Grizzlies, like you got Dylan Brooks as a win. Like he's like the heart guy, but skill wise, he's just not that good. Like I call him Dylan Brooks because this dude just loves chucking it, and he's just not that good on offense. He's a great defensive player. If you get OG Anunoby right now, because that Memphis Grizzlies team they could win it all. They can win it all right now.
Yeah, they
You
were
got
my
to
pick
put
to get to the
your
finals
window.
at least.
Yeah, your window right now. Like you don't know how long that window lasts. Like you got OKC Thunder with KD and Westbrook and Harden never getting it done. You got to put your chips in the middle and try to win a championship right now, especially this year in the West when there's no, I would say, true blue blood like dominating team. Like all the potential teams that are making out the Western Conference, like the Denver Nuggets are top right now, Memphis Grizzlies, like Pelicans. All these teams are new teams.
Kings.
Yeah, Kings. Like these are all new teams that recently just are making playoff pushes right now. No experienced teams, and what they're lacking is another wing guy. And if you get OG Anunoby out, they have all their picks. The thing with the Memphis Grizzlies, though, they value those picks because that general manager is a hell of a drafter. So I don't know how likely the general manager is going to think about trading those picks because he gets Desmond Bain with late first round picks, man. That's what he does. So
and they can't get free agents as easily.
Yeah,
they have
exactly.
a harder time in free agency.
Exactly. So, but I feel like OG Anunoby though is going to be a worthwhile trade to get it done. But I feel like it's going to cost a lot of picks to get it done. But I feel like
it's gonna cost
you got
some
Ja Morant, who I'm always like iffy about injury wise because of his play style. Is very reckless, very AI, Derrick Rose-esque. Like you don't know how long his career is going to be with that athleticism because he's a straight athlete. So I'm going all in right now. Get a complimentary wing like OG Anunoby add to the Memphis Grizzlies because
I like that.
put all your chips in the middle, man. All in, baby. Go all in. Because after that, goddamn, like got Jaren Jackson, like Steven Adams, like OG Anunoby, defensive
Brooks
wise,
off the bench.
Yeah, incredible, just incredible length and like defense, man. So I love that fit.
Memphis needs somebody, and I don't know OG Anunoby. I don't know. I mean, from afar, he looks like a guy, like just a hardworking, humble guy. They need some humility.
He's quiet.
I'm sick. I'm sick. And I picked Memphis to go to the finals. I'm sick of it. You've done nothing. Stop talking. It's so annoying. Like, and I think part of that is why I argue with one of my friends in the group chat all the time because like, no, you got to have that personality. You trying to go for it. There's a difference because we all watched the greats before, like
Kobe.
There's a difference in being focused and determined and trying to achieve something you never done before and also not backing down to someone who's been on top. We understand that, but there's a fine line. Like, I think a lot of it is they just like to run their mouth. And it's like, dog, let us not forget, you almost got put out of the playoffs by Minnesota. And if we want to be real about that series, Anthony Edwards was the best player in that series. So,
absolutely.
Dude, we gotta have, and I'm talking to Memphis Grizzly fans, we gotta have some type of humility. And people are not gonna care because Ja's making highlight dunks and he's getting Grizzlies to the second seed in the Western Conference. So nobody's gonna care. But I feel like, to Zoo's point, their window, if they don't do nothing this year, they're gonna go from the team, because I think a lot of people are not criticizing because they're still that newish team. But we all know how this goes in NBA and how the phases go. You start off as that team that everyone likes, you make a little noise in the playoffs, and you're the young team, so everybody's like, let's embrace them. Let's make sure they're this team we can all wrap our hands around. Once you start going to the playoffs and you're flaming out, then the next year people are gonna be like, okay, well, this team, I know they're 2 to 3 years older, but like, why ain't they made it to the conference finals yet, Western Conference finals yet? And that's gonna happen next year. Like, this year is vital. And I think bringing in someone like OG, and I don't know if he's a leader within the Toronto locker room, maybe bringing somebody in there and shipping some guys out, like maybe Dylan Brooks, like, not even get started with what he was doing. And there was 2 guilty parties with him and Shannon Sharp, but like,
that was great.
Like, all that is just crazy. Like, I think Memphis needs a dose of humility.
Man.
Yeah, I just think they need a little bit, just a little. And they were both wrong in that instance, but they just need a little bit of humility. I think that'll go a long way, and that actually might help them in the playoff. So yeah, I don't know. I agree with Zoo. OG might be that. Him getting to Memphis might be the better. I like that a lot because he defends, and that's part of their DNA, and he could be another shooter for Ja to hit, maybe in the corner or something like that. So, what are these NBA trades, man? We're 2 weeks away, maybe week and a half. I'm not sure.
About 2 weeks. Yeah,
but 2 weeks. Yeah, so we're going to see. I think the Lakers gave it a nice kickstart yesterday, and there's just going to be a lot more teams that's going to be making moves. So make sure you guys tune in. After this week, a couple weeks later, we're going to be doing the Super Bowl, and next thing you know, it's going to be strictly NBA. So for all you guys that's been craving NBA content, that was a little teaser right there, but we're going to be giving you a lot more in the next couple of weeks. So, Bullheaded_pod, Instagram, Bullheaded864, TikTok, Quantrill knows when it comes to the YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts is where you can hear this. And if you're kind enough, give us a 5-star review. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.